this is Sewing Julie. How are you? I hope you're having a good day and thank you for tuning this video. So, a few weeks ago I posted on my Instagram that I got my new sewing machine, and this time I went for the industrial one for home use. I received many questions why exactly I went for industrial one, so I thought I would just make a quick video and tell you the whole story on how I went to this purchase. So, a little bit of the background story of why I needed a new sewing machine. As you guys know from my sewing blog or my Instagram, if you're not following me, links down below, please check it. I have been sewing for more than a decade at home, and throughout that decade I had in total 3 sewing machines. All of them were domestic ones, and my latest one was Zinger heavy duty machine, which I have been using with for the last 3 years. It is a great machine, it's very popular and rightfully has great reviews online. However, lately I noticed that it does not give me the stitch quality that I really need and want, and I started to notice that I am hesitating to sew on it, especially if my friends ask to sew something for them, because I was not really happy with the stitch quality that I was getting. So I decided that I need an upgrade machine. I started doing researches online, what would be a great choice for me for the next upper level machine. And at first I wanted to buy the domestic one because I live in a small apartment and there is really not much space to have an industrial big sewing machine like this. But yeah, after doing some careful selections, I figured that there are only a few options for me, and all of them are really pricey, starting from €1,000 and up, and they all have some programs and stitches that I really don't need, because I only needed one straight stitch, because I have an overlocker and etc., so I only needed a straight stitch sewing machine. So after doing a careful research and noticing that the domestic sewing machine could cost up to more than €1,000, I decided to go with the industrial sewing machine. I am familiar with industrial sewing machines from my sewing school, where I'm going for a year and a half already, and we only use industrials there. And so I really liked the stitch quality and precision and speed that they deliver. There are a few major features of the industrial sewing machine that the domestic ones are lacking. Well, first of all, the speed. For example, my Zinger heavy duty sewing machine is considered to be quite fast, and it stitches 1,100 stitches per minute, while this industrial sewing machine is sewing 3,500 stitches per minute, which is more than 3 times faster. Believe me, when it comes to sewing big projects, that speed really comes handy. The second thing that I love about industrial sewing machines is the precision, because these machines are really accurate, and you can either speed up or slow down, and the machine is very controllable, and you will not lose the control of it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So, what I also really like about industrial sewing machines is that they're really heavy duty. Like, if they have to go from 2 layers to 8 layers, you will not notice any change in stitch quality. It will do a perfect stitch. Plus you can sew leather on it. It will go easily with that. So you can sew from lightest fabrics to the heaviest fabrics. As I mentioned, upper class domestic sewing machines are really pricey and are from €1,000 or more. And in fact, I did not really need that many functions. I only needed a straight stitch, which this machine has. And so for me this was much more economical purchase, because with some additional features, a table and etc., this machine costed €500, which is a really fair price to pay. despite of the many advantages that the industrial sewing machine has, it also has a few minuses that I also need to talk about. Well, first of all, industrial sewing machines come with a big table like this. Actually, this is even shorter than the initial table because the original table is 1 meter and 20 centimeters, and my table is only 1 meter because simply the original one was too big for me. So you really need to have space for the sewing machine. And honestly, I was quite hesitant to get industrial sewing machine exactly for this purpose because we don't really have much space at our home to fit this beauty. And it's in the middle of the kitchen right now. Because with the domestic sewing machine, it's very easy. You can pick it up, put it anywhere and sew on it. And after you're done, you can just wrap everything and put it again somewhere. And with the industrial one, no, you like put it and it's there. So this is something that you need to think about if you really have the space for it. Second thing, which I was a bit worried about, but it turned out to be not a problem, I was thinking that the industrial sewing machine would be louder. We live in an apartment and not at a private house, so I was worried that the noise from the machine would be really loud. But in fact, the industrial sewing machine, this one at least, is really silent, and it's even more quiet than the domestic machine that I had. And yeah, I really love it because the sound is minimum and it really is not a problem. I mentioned to you that industrial sewing machines only have one stitch. Yeah, that's right. This sewing machine only does a straight stitch. So if you are thinking about getting an industrial sewing machine as well, you need to think about that. For me, it's not a problem. I have an overlocker for inner seams to finish seams, and I also did not throw away my Zinger heavy-duty machine, so I left it for the zigzag stitch in case I needed and the buttonholes. But with the straight stitch, I think that when I'm sewing, I'm making approximately 70% of my seams with straight stitch only and 25% of seams with overlocker. So I really don't mind that my sewing machine only has this one function. But in case you don't have another sewing machine at home, please think twice before getting an industrial sewing machine, because it does not have the buttonhole function or etc., which might come handy sometimes. I have been using my sewing machine for a few weeks already, and I already finished so many projects with it because the speed and precision makes the job so easy. And actually behind me you can see my first project finished on this sewing machine, which is my puppy jacket, and the inner seams are all not lined but finished with bias seam. And what I can tell you, this machine did a perfect job on it, and it looks really good. So I want to give you a closer look to the machine, so let's get into that. So here, let's take a closer look to this beauty. Okay, let's start here. Here you can see two places for thread cones. One is going here straight to the needle, and then the second one you can put another thread cone here, put it here, and wind your bobbin while you are sewing. This is a quite nice feature. So the main sewing machine looks like this. Here you thread the bobbin, here is the whole sewing machine up close. This button, it will not work now because you have to be sewing for this to work, but it does one step stitch. I will show you a little bit later. I also have to show you guys how the reverse stitch feet looks like this. Yeah, you just push it and the machine goes backwards. I will also show you this. Here is the stitch length regulator. Oh, I have to reset it to 3. Yeah, here is the measuring tape on the table, very, very handy feature. Here is a little drawer for all the sewing supplies. Here is a knee lifter. If you press it like this, the foot goes up. This is a very, very handy feature, and I know that a few domestic machines have it as well. So if you have a chance, ask for this lift, because it's really handy and you don't have to use your hands while sewing. I really recommend this feature. And yeah, here is the pedal. This is really, really big and comfortable foot controller. And just to compare with the domestic one, which looks like this. This looks like a toy, doesn't it, compared to this? Yeah. Well, not many sewing machines have this feature, but in my case, if you push the front pedal, the machine stitches forward. If you push the back of the pedal, the machine automatically cuts the thread, which is a really nice feature. Yeah. So give me a second and I will show you how to sew with this machine. So, okay, let's try this machine out. I take a little piece of fabric. Using the knee lift, I lift the foot, put the fabric in place, and slowly starting to stitch. Using the back stitch, I will secure the stitch in this position and then go forward again. This stitch is one stitch button, which goes like this. You push once, the needle goes up. You push again, the needle goes down, and so on. And the rest of the sewing goes like this. After you've done sewing, you just push the pedal backwards and it cuts the thread like this. See? Yeah, like this. I also want to show you guys the max speed. I don't know if I will be getting with this fabric because it's very stretchy, but let's try this out. I also want to show you guys that this sewing machine is full metal. There are no plastic details except for this part, which I don't even know how to use yet. And yes, the whole machine is very, very stable because it is in the table, plus it's metal, so the vibration is minimum. Therefore, you can sew much faster and more quiet. So wrapping up this video, I really, really love my purchase, and if you are an experienced or advanced sewist and you are looking for an upgrade sewing machine, I really urge you to think about an industrial sewing machine as well. If you have not worked with it ever before, go find a dealer who has industrial sewing machines and ask him to test them. I think that they would agree to give you a try and you will see what precision and speed they give, and I think that you guys would like that. But yeah, I also have to mention that I do not recommend to buy this industrial sewing machine if you are a beginner, because it is a bit difficult to maneuver, that's the word, if you don't have much experience. And also I don't recommend for you if you only have one, it will be your only sewing machine, because as I mentioned, it does only a straight stitch and it will not do an overlock seam and it will not do buttonholes. So for the finishing of the seams or buttonholes, you will have to have a separate sewing machine. But other than that, I love my sewing machine. It gives me perfect results and I'm so happy with the speed and precision that it gives me. And I really, really recommend you to try it out as well. So, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please leave a comment down below if you have any question about the industrial sewing machine, or if you probably want me to do another video in some other theme. Please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful weekend.